Bienvenidos, ¿cómo están? Game Plan Scout In, episodio número 4. Nuestro buen amigo, nuestro insider, nuestro Master Jedi en el fútbol americano, el coach Kevin Kelly, estará uniéndose en unos segundos, minutitos más. Son semanas de mucho ajetreo, scouteando, haciendo análisis, haciendo reportes. Y en verdad muchísimas gracias por cada semana estar con nosotros aquí en Game Plan Scout In. Un día donde arrancó ya la semana 12 de la NFL con el resultado de la victoria de los Cleveland Browns sobre los Pittsburgh Steelers en el partido que abrió las hostilidades de esta semana 12. Marcador de 24-19, pero en Claryburg ya haremos todo el análisis y platicaremos de lo acontecido y de lo que viene para el equipo de los Pittsburgh Steelers. Aquí, y ya veo que está por ahí ingresando al show. Welcome back, my friend, to the show that never ends. My amigo, nuestro amigo, el coach Kevin Kelly. Y pues vamos a platicar de algo que está por suceder. Falta la gota que derrame el vaso. Mike Tomlin. Recuerden que aquí en Scout In vamos mucho más profundo, hacemos un análisis. Hablar de Mike Tomlin es hablar de 18 años como entrenador en jefe en la NFL. Y está una victoria que esta noche no se consiguió, no se dio. Pero está un triunfo de sellar su temporada número 18 consecutiva sin temporada con récord perdedor. Algo que lo coloca dentro de los principales peldaños y de esas situaciones que son complejas de alcanzar, ¿no? Sin mayor preámbulo, primero, how are you, my friend, my brother, Coach Kevin Kelly?
Doing great. Glad to be back talking to you, talking about our favorite sport, football.
Amigo, Coach, what is your opinion about Mike Tomlin? He is only one victory away to make history. 18 no-losing season in the NFL.
Yeah, I think that's one of the least known amazing coaching facts in the NFL right now. Nobody, I mean, it's talked about a little bit, but for Mike Tomlin to go 18 straight years without having a losing season in the NFL, where you see teams just go up and down, and his just stay constant. I think that's amazing. I really think it's a feat. It's a testimony to, I think, his discipline that he instills, but also his ability to reach the players on a relational level to keep them playing hard and keep them wanting to play as well. And be able to put together a staff. You lose coordinators and you bring in a guy, and you lose them and you bring in, but the constant there is Mike Tomlin. And so it's an amazing feat.
Coach, what is the principal characteristic in Tomlin's career? Not only on the field, outside the field.
I think the number one thing is people try to be somebody they're not these days off the field. And I think Mike Tomlin is who he is. I think he doesn't pretend. I think he doesn't go outside his personality. I think he wants people to know on and off the field, this is who I am, this is who you're going to get. And people respect that more because they always know where they stand with you. I think he tells it like it is. I think when he's talking to players off the field, I think he tells them what he thinks. I don't think he, like foo-foos it up. I don't think he gives you false confidence and false build-up. I think he just tells you like it is. And it's good for people to know where they stand because they know if he thinks they need them to do better. They don't have to guess. They don't have to wonder. They know if he's not happy with them right then. They know they better get to work and make him happy if they want to stay on that team. And I like that about him. I think he tells it like it is, and I think there's fewer and fewer coaches that do that.
At this moment, Mike Tomlin is the number 3 in history with 18. Maybe not this Thursday, but it's only one victory away of that record. The second man, you know it very well, Bill Belichick with 19. And the first one, the biggest Tom Landry. What is the most difficult to make this happen?
Probably the most difficult is when you've got a good record, when your team has had a good year. It's human nature for us to let down a little bit, to not work as hard because we had a good season, to not spend the time in the off season as players, to not spend the time working out, watching film in the off season that we did to get to that level. And people get complacent. We just get satisfied. And for you to be able to sustain what they have, you're a good leader to not let them get that way. You're a leader where when you say enough, guys, you got to keep working or we will fall off. You have to keep grinding or we will get worse. And his leadership I don't think there's any other character of a coach that matters the most to keep them up high is the leadership. His leadership, they listen to him when he says you got to keep grinding and keep working or we won't be as good. And I think that's a huge part because that's the biggest thing is it's just human nature to fall off and not be. And you've seen it year after year. You look at the NBA, the Golden State Warriors, they were up here and then they just fall off. And you look at the Dallas Cowboys in the 90s, they were up here and they just fell off. Look at San Francisco this year. Their offense was unstoppable. This year, they're 500. It's just hard to stay at a certain level, and because human complacency sets in.
Yeah, being a coach is a tough spot. No, not only because the sport. I mean, being a coach is not only X and O. It's more than that.
Yeah, it's a lot more than that. The X's and O's, some coaches pick out things they like the most about coaching. Some like the X's and O's. Some like the relationships. Some like to go out and develop relationships with other coaches so they can learn more. But the coach that knows that it's all important and you have to do it all and do it well, that's the ones that usually do well. But the relationships part, when I was out of coaching for 2 years, that's the part I missed the most, was the relationships with the players, relationships with other coaches. Luckily I built a relationship with guys like you that kind of subsidize that. But you're a relationships person too. And coaches have to be, because you've got 53 guys in the NFL. I've got 53 guys on my high school team. You've got to develop relationships and be able to, because when they come in the building, you want them to work on football, but they've got all this going on in life. So you've got to have a relationship where you can help them in life so they want to come in and do the football for you. And guys that are successful like Mike Tomlin have been able to do that.
Absolutely. And talking about relationships, let me make this audible and talk about Jim Harbaugh. Coach Harbaugh is a wonderful, positive man. How looks to you this period in his career now with the Los Angeles Chargers?
Yeah, Jim Harbaugh might be the most relationship coach that there is. I mean, you can see, and some of he's different than his brother John. Mm-hmm. Jim Harbaugh wears his emotions on his sleeves. How he feels all the time. He's extremely positive. But what he's got that's different than most people, in my opinion. He can be extremely positive and have a lot of fun with the guys, but still maintain the discipline with those guys too. Most guys, if you're a player's coach, you also don't have the discipline. But he's a player's coach that does have the discipline. And I think that is a humongous deal. I mean, you see him in his interviews and you're like, this guy's kind of crazy, but it's a fun crazy. It's a happy crazy. It's a positive crazy. And just like, and I keep saying this, he reminds me of you in a lot of ways. He's happy with life, and that bleeds over to other people. It's bleeding over to his players right now. And if they're happy, they're going to play better. They're going to play harder. If you're happy, you just do a better job. And I think he's able to spread that better than any coach in the NFL or college at this time.
Yeah. Do you remember the years in San Francisco 49ers with Colin Kaepernick and all this stuff? They make the Super Bowl. No, they play versus his brother, but more of that kind of aura around Jim Harbaugh. He was QB. He knows how to do the things on the field. No, and now like a coach, I agree with you. No, he's a happiest man. No, but how is this possible? How he can do this transition between pro, college, pro, college, college, pro. It's amazing.
Yeah, I think that's a great point. Very few have been able to do college and pro and be successful at both. But I think what that shows is, and it's really teaching me a lesson. I'm glad we're talking about it. It shows that positivity is the one thing that no matter what age you are, college or pro, that's well needed. I still think you need the discipline and the accountability at both, and I think he does that at both. But I think that positivity and his love for life and his love for the job, he when they call it up, he says, "Who has it better than us?" And they respond, "Nobody."
Nobody.
He is brainwashing them in a positive way. He's brainwashing them into knowing, hey, you're an NFL player, you've got good lives. But he said the same thing in college. They had to call it up and say, "Who's got it better than us?" Nobody. And he made them think they had the best lives as a college football player. So he's a guy that can get in your head in a good way, no matter what age you are. And I think that positivity is the way he does that, because people want that positive force in their life.
And in this season, his mantra for the Los Angeles Chargers is something so simple, so ordinary. High five. The high five is a great reaction. It's the most natural reaction of the human being when you do a great play, when you say a great speak. Give me five, no? Guy five. And Jim Harbaugh is doing that with the Justin Herbert and Chargers.
Yeah, and you know what? You say that. Who doesn't like a high five? Everybody
Exactly.
likes a high five. And he's not, he loves it. He loves his high five. And I think that's the other thing. People like people that are passionate about what they do or what they talk about. He is passionate about his job. And you can see that. And I think that makes people passionate about what they do. And I know it makes you want to listen. I could go listen to somebody talking about kayaking or sailing. Mm-hmm. And if they're passionate, I could listen to it. If they're not, I don't want to hear it. And he's passionate, and his players listen to him no matter what level, college or pro.
The first big winner is Justin Herbert.
I think he's made an impact on Justin Herbert. The NFL is hard. I mean, it's just hard. And you're back there and you're a quarterback and you're getting hit. It's easy to start thinking, man, I'm making a lot of money. I'm not going to stand in there. I'm going to get rid of the ball, not take my hits, this kind of stuff. But Jim Harbaugh brings that positive and brings that team and brings that who's got it better than us, nobody, which makes those guys want to work harder. And for Justin Herbert, if you'll remember what he said just last night, I saw an interview with him yesterday at his podium. He said he called Justin Herbert a beast. And he said not on the field, but Justin Herbert's a beast in his work ethic off the field. I don't think that's always been the case for Justin Herbert. What I think is Harbaugh has brought out the best in all his players. He's brought out that work ethic. Everybody aspires to be better than they are. I want to be way better than me. Sometimes it takes somebody like you or somebody else to bring that out of me, to make me do that. And I think Harbaugh's done that with Justin Herbert. And then if you look what he's got, I think that what he's done is, I did another show with Warren Sharp, who covers the NFL Tuesday. Mm-hmm. And I looked into Justin Herbert. Here's something I found. I think he's got Justin Herbert going, you've got the keys to this team. You are going to help us win or keep us from winning more than anybody else because you're the quarterback. That's the way the team is. Justin Herbert, in their 3 losses, the Chargers have 3 losses. In those 3 losses, he ran for 0, 8, and 2 yards. But look what he's done in their wins. He's averaged 18 or more yards a game rushing the ball. And what that does is when you're a quarterback and you take off running, the defense has to start playing you differently. They can't just drop back in the pass game. They've got to stay up in case you run. He ran for 65 yards on Sunday Night Football.
Yeah.
And you run for 65 yards, and some of those were explosive plays that were 12 yards or more, and those plays are shown to be what drives winning games more than anything else. And I think Harbaugh has brought that out of him, among many other things.
Continuamos aquí en este episodio de Game Plan Scout In. Siempre un placer, un privilegio poder compartir y hacer este show para todos ustedes y que tengamos esta profundidad, no solo el día a día que de pronto nos consume, ¿no? Y estamos pendientes de lo que acontece en el presente sin ir un poco más en la profundidad, porque estos temas que hemos platicado, por supuesto que merecen este tiempo e incluso un poco o un mucho más. Coach, we need to talk about college football. We have only 2 weeks in the regular season, in the schedule for every university, for every college. And what a kind of a season. You know, it's a pandemonium at this moment. Everybody can do something more. But for this next Saturday, all the eyes are in the game. Indiana versus Ohio State. How looks to you?
Man, that's a big game, and I'm looking forward to it. I mean, looking real forward to it. Indiana has gone undefeated, but they didn't start off the year ranked high, so they've had to work their way up. Well, you know, if you look, Ohio State, I think, is 12.5 or 13-point favorites.
Mm-hmm.
So nobody's really given Indiana a chance. And that's what you want. If you're one of these teams in a big game, Indiana can go in thinking nobody's giving us a chance. That's a motivator. But also, they can play loose. They're not stressed. If Indiana loses this game, everybody just goes, that's what was supposed to happen. But if Ohio State loses this game, that is stressful. So I think they go into the game, the Buckeyes go into the game with a lot more on the line because everybody expects them to win. Indiana's probably playing carefree, and depending on their quarterback situation, I think they've got a better chance to win this game than people think. You know, Ohio State's a better football team. They've got more NIL money, they've got more talented players, but Indiana is playing good football. And at the end of the year, when you're 10-0, I don't care who you are, you've now got confidence because you've won all 10 games. And that confidence makes you better. Everybody that has confidence, whether you're a truck driver or whether you're a salesman, if you've got confidence, you're just better at your job. And right now, I think Indiana has all the confidence in the world. And I personally hope they beat Ohio State. And I definitely think they'll play closer than people think.
Yeah, you win and you shock the world, no? Because
yeah. You know, and before I get to that, let me throw one scenario to you.
Mm-hmm.
If Indiana gets beat by Ohio State 50-7, do you think they fall out of the top 12 rankings?
I make myself that question this morning. It's sad, but it's true.
But probably true. Okay.
Yeah.
If they win, and then they go to the Big Ten championship game and play Oregon, and they get beat by 50-7 there, do they drop out? Maybe. So you know what would be the best thing for Indiana? To play a close game against Ohio State, because if they get beat 30-24, they won't drop out of the ranking.
Yeah.
And then they wouldn't have to play Oregon in the Big Ten championship game and take a chance on getting blown out. So they're Indiana, and they don't want to lose. But the best thing that could happen to them to make sure they get in the playoffs would be to lose to Ohio State by 1 score.
Indiana is like a Rocky Balboa.
Yeah, they're in if they do that.
Yeah.
They won the war. They won the war. And,
Exactly.
But if they win this game and then get killed at Oregon, they lose the war because they're probably out. They won the battle against Ohio State, but they lost the war. Yeah. And everybody, if you had, would you rather win the war or the battle? The bad thing is, if you're the coach of Indiana, do you even tell your kids that? I don't think you even tell them that. You just go in there and try to win. But in his mind, I promise you, it's in his mind.
The time is the only rival we can beat. Coach, thank you very much. Gracias. One more week.
The only thing that gets us is time, right?
Exactly. That's the reason we need to enjoy. The Beatles says, life is very short. No?
It is, and it goes by faster and faster the older you get.
Exactly. Well,
but I enjoy this time together, enjoy talking football and visiting with you, and you have all the good vibes coming from me, so hope you feel that.
No, we are in this together.
We are. Thank you.
Not only on the field, outside the field is much bigger than only the field.
For sure, and I appreciate it.
My brother, my amigo, Coach Kevin Calais, gracias. Have a great day.
You too.
Qué maravilla, semana a semana poder tener este espacio por y para ustedes. Muchísimas gracias, por supuesto, por los comentarios, las dudas, los cuestionamientos, a todo el Game Plan Army aquí en Scout In, esta nueva propiedad que estamos manejando y que afortunadamente ustedes han atesorado y tienen para esta semana estos tópicos, ¿no? Vendrán más, viene una etapa, el mejor momento de la mejor etapa del año, que es el fútbol americano, con la recta final del fútbol americano colegial, con la recta final del fútbol americano profesional, también por supuesto el tema del fútbol americano estudiantil en nuestro país y todo lo que viene ya de cara al 2025 con la conformación de nuevas ligas, por supuesto la UFL que estaremos dando puntual seguimiento. Gracias por todo el contacto en las diferentes redes sociales, Oscar.Clériga en TikTok, @Clériga en todas las demás redes. En verdad muchas gracias también por supuesto a la gente que sigue a Lau Sandoval con los contenidos puntuales de los Dallas Cowboys, de los Texas Longhorns, fútbol americano profesional, el colegial y la mañanera de Game Plan, la mañanera del fútbol americano de lunes a viernes a las 8 de la mañana. Estamos platicando del acontecer, de lo que nos deja, de lo que viene, de lo que hay que seguir día a día en este maravilloso deporte. En verdad, muchas gracias. Y así llegamos a la parte final. Hay que disfrutar el fin de semana que viene cargado de emociones, de drama, de mucha pasión para estar al pendiente en el dispositivo que usted elija seguir uno o varios partidos. En verdad, muchas gracias. Que sea una excelente semana en todos los ámbitos.